Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this video today is going to be how I made this little albino kangaroo. It's got a little pink ribbon on the end, so this was a commission. So the customer wanted a albino kangaroo with longer fur, so I only really trimmed down the feet area and arms and the head and left everything else long, and added this little pink bow onto the end of it. But yeah, another quick commission that I did as I had the molds and stuff. So yeah, so if you want to know how I made him, then keep watching. Alrighty, so I'm starting off with a resin cast of a sculpture that I originally sculpted out of Super Sculpey many years ago, and I molded it in silicone and then cast it in resin. So for this one, I am painting it in a acrylic water-based paint. So every time I want to paint an area of a resin cast or a polymer clay cast sculpture, I always prime my pieces first, and there's heaps of primers that you can use. I personally use a canvas primer by the brand Derivian Matisse. I think it works really well, but you can use things like car primer and like Liquitex mediums that have a good tooth on it. So you want to get a matte medium which gives you that tooth. So as this is an albino animal, I'm going to be painting all of the areas that I normally would paint black. I'm going to be painting them pink. And I'm using a acrylic water-based paint by the brand Derivian Matisse, and it's a nice pastel-y pink color. I really like this color. If you wanted it to be a bit more muted, I would add a bit of white to it, or add a little bit of pink to the white, I should say, because it's a pretty strong color. And yeah, I think it works really well if you want some see-through transparent pink on the ears. So I paint the whole ears pink, and then I'll add the faux fur to the top of it, and you can see like a little bit of pink come through that white faux fur. So it's always a good tip if you want some of that skin see-through. You can also just do it with Super Sculpey, that beige color. That also works really well for pink colored things as well. So for the eyes, I'm using a brand called Chromagrill. It's an Australian brand, and you can get it in most hobby shops. You can get it in Officeworks as well for pretty cheap. I quite like this brand of paint. I like the consistency of it, and it's like I said, it's cheap, and it's pretty accessible here in Australia, but you can find something similar in wherever you are. You can find something similar in craft stores. So I use Cool Red for all my albino animals for the eyes. And then if you want to paint in a different iris, you can use like a darker red or a different coloured red. But I quite like the Cool Red colour for albino animals. So same deal with the feet. Again, it's a resin cast that I've sculpted and cast in resin. And as it's an albino animal, I'm going to be doing the pads that same pink colour. And then I'll add a little bit of white wash over it just to mute that pink a little bit, because it's can be a little bit pink, I think. So yeah, I added a little bit of a whitewash over it just to mute it a little bit. For the claws, I'm doing a kind of a whitish claw, and in the base I'm going to be adding a little bit of brown to and sort of blending it into the white, and that way it sort of makes it look like they're a little bit dirty down at the base, because animals don't have clean nails, so you want to add a little bit of dirt and colour to the end of the nail. I'm just using a tiny dot of brown paint and blending it into that white paint, making sure it doesn't turn too brown and having that white tip. Moving on to the faux fur, so again I'm just going to be using white faux fur. I'm actually running low of this fur, so I need to go out and get some. I usually get the white and the black faux fur from my local craft store called Spotlight, only when they have sales on. So, a lot of the times they have 30-40% off, so it's always a good ideal for faux fur, I guess. So yeah, I always just wait until there's a sale on and you can get yourself a cheaper roll of faux fur. And it's a pretty good quality faux fur, this one. It's a medium length pile, and the under fur and the backing are quite good quality as well. So if you can get your hands on some of this fur, then yeah, I highly recommend it. And yeah, so I'm just drawing out the patterns for the body onto the backing of the faux fur, and then I'll be cutting it out with this small pair of sharp scissors. You can see the quality, it's quite shiny. It's not too shiny, but it is a little bit shiny, and it's quite soft as well. So again, going around with the small pair of sharp scissors just to cut the backing, not the pile of the faux fur. I find if you use larger scissors, you end up cutting the pile, and you don't want to do that because it kind of blunts the length of the fur, unless you're shaving it, and then it should be fine. But yeah, definitely try a smaller pair of scissors so you can get those blades in between the pile. So once I've done that, I can then pin it first side together. For this particular doll, I'm going to be sewing it up on a sewing machine. Some of my other dolls have hand sewed it. You can check out the way I did the bongos and a couple of other dolls over on my Patreon. I have a couple of videos on what I did. It involves felting and sewing like a skin over it. So yeah, definitely check it out if you want to know how I did that other technique. But for this one, I'm going to be using it on the sewing machine. So I'm going to pin all of the pieces that I cut out first side together and going around on a sewing machine. I do leave the back end open. I also leave the neck hole open and also the legs open so I can flip it the right way around. So there still is a fair bit of hand sewing to do. But I think using the sewing machine just eliminates majority of the hand sewing that needs to be done. I don't particularly like hand sewing, so if I can get away with it and find a quicker method, then I definitely will do it. I also find sewing it on the sewing machine to be a lot stronger as well than hand sewing things. So yeah, if you can do it, if you can work out a way to machine sew things, definitely give it a go. But yeah, so once that's done, I can flip it the right way around. If you're having trouble flipping it, I'd recommend using a blunt tool, like a wooden tool or a plastic tool. Don't use anything metal because you will pierce through the body and you'll get a little hole. But this is what it looks like once it's been flipped through. And you can see I've got all of the ends open so I can feed the armature through. So for this one, I'm going to be using a combination of a ball and socket armature for the spine and then wire for the legs and the arms. The reason why is because the pieces for the legs and the arms are quite small, and the armature that I'm using is quite thick for the head just to hold the weight. So I have to sort of do a little bit of modifying to this doll to make it work. And yeah, once I've inserted the armature and attached all the pieces, I can start closing everything up. So I start off by gluing the body to the head, and I use a tacky fabric glue to glue all of my pieces. It's from Spotlight here in Australia. It's quite good. It's just a craft glue, fabric craft glue. You can find anything similar in your local craft stores as well. It's nothing special. Just have a look, see if it's thick and clear. And it says fabric glue. That should work. Always test things out before you put it on your actual doll to see how everything reacts. But I've never had any trouble with this one, so if you're in Australia, I recommend this one. I think they've changed their formula a little bit in some of the new ones. I don't think it's as good. It's quite runny, which I didn't really like, and it smells different, so it kind of seems to me that it's a different formula. But yeah, I'll try some new bottles and see if it's the same deal. If not, I'll try and find something else because I'm not completely happy with this new formula. But anyway, once it's done, I can sew everything up, add some polyfill. I use a ladder stitch to close everything up. I have a video on my channel that you can check out if you don't know what a ladder stitch is. Add some fur to the face and all of the feet. And yeah, just add any little details that I need to be added. So it's mainly some more shading and detailing in the face area where I've added that faux fur. So as you can see, I'm adding some to the nose, just refining that a little bit and bringing out more of the features, and also around the eyes. If you want to add some more colouring, you can add it to the inside of the ears as well. but that's why we painted the inside of the ears to get that slight show through of that pink. And the customer also wanted a little pink bow on the tail, so I rummaged through all my stuff and found this really nice pink bow. It sort of matches the skin color as well around the eyes and the nose, so I added the little bow to the end of it. So yeah, I think everyone knows how to how to tie a bow. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope that helped. Any questions, leave it in the comments and I can try and answer it. I have heaps of tutorials and available in my shop, also for free on my YouTube, and also if you want a little bit more, you can check out my Patreon. I have heaps of things up there like printables, discount codes, early access, and video tutorials as well. So link is in the description for that one. You can also check me out on Instagram, Facebook, Creatures of Nat, and my shop, creaturesofnat.com. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!